Hello, this is Patrick, and it's after work, and I'm settling in to play a game. So if you were here looking for nursing or nursing education related content, I apologize, but I'm taking a break from school and just taking some time to engage in some hobbies, and this is one of those. Kerbal Space Program is a space agency simulator. It's still in development, it's not released yet, but it's available through like a early access program for people who pre-order the game. And new in this version is the addition of a career mode. I put about 130 hours into Sandbox by all the options that the mods provided. Um, and so here I see there's no music. That's interesting. What's going on here? Volume mixer, Kerbal Space Program. Aha, there it is. The happy music. Turn that down a little bit. Alright, so we're going to just override the default game. I've made a couple of pretty good attempts. I've only just gotten to start this new version today. And so here we are, and we see the new research facility, which is much higher poly count than the rest of the Space Center. And in the research facility, we see the new technology tree. We start off with a very limited selection of parts. That's part of the attraction for me, the constraints that have been added. And here we have the first tier that will unlock for 5 science points. Right now I have 0. Note that we don't start with decouplers, so we have to actually unlock those. So we have to be a little creative in our first rocket. You see there's cost and unlock cost in the upper left of these windows, but that actually has not been implemented yet. I'm kind of looking forward to the cost optimization of the launch vehicles, as well as the thrust-to-weight ratio and all that stuff. So we'll get started with our Tier 0 technology here. We've got Merc 1 command pod, and we've got some small fuel tanks and solid rocket boosters to play with here. So I'm going to stack on a few of these. Not at all certain that I'll get into orbit at all, but maybe a little suborbital, a little hop would be just fine. And I've heard some other people on YouTube saying that they've gotten all the way to the moon on Tier 0 technology. I find that just absolutely astounding. I found it very challenging just to get into orbit. But the challenge is good, and I really appreciate this game's kind of like Dwarf Fortress, where their model is, failing is fun, or failure is fun, something like that. This is a really good game to not be so obsessed with the outcome of your efforts, and to accept failure and criticism, and to learn from mistakes. And very, very valuable thing to learn. And so I think this may get us up into orbit. We'll give it a shot. I don't think there's anything else I've neglected here. Yeah, let's give this a go. Save and launch. The loading screen here I think is a glitch now. Also, back in that research screen a second ago, I thought the music was awfully somber. Not quite up to the standard of the music of the rest of the game. Okay, gotta do a little staging here because I neglected to do that. Not sure what activating the capsule itself as a stage does. And away we go. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. Back off on the throttle a little bit. We're picking up speed quite nicely. We've just broken 300 meters per second there. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's still accelerating quite nicely. I'm going to be ready to start my gravity turn in just a minute. And I keep wanting to press the staging button when I hear that sound, but there are no decouplers. I'm not decoupling anything. And I'm going to throttle up, get this gravity turn done here. Try to get my anterior grade vector just as close to 45 degrees here as I can, without, of course, swinging back down towards the Earth. Or Kerbal, or Kerbin? Kerbin. I think the name of this planet is Kerbin. Yeah, that's pretty good here. Now, of course, we don't have any maneuvering thrusters, and the thrust vectoring of our one available engine is not very good, so I'm having to rely a lot on reaction wheels to keep my heading here. And this is looking pretty good. I'm going to nose up just a little bit. Let's take a look at our orbital trajectory here. Our apoapsis. Ooh, we're already there. Let's cut those engines. Excellent. A little overshot a little bit. I was shooting for 70 kilometers, but having a little padding is good. Very happy with the rebalancing and the control wheels in the game. Much more smoother to pilot even on a keyboard. And I'm just going to speed up time a little bit until we reach our apoapsis. And alright, there we go, getting pretty close. Go back down to real time. And you see now that we've reached 70 kilometers altitude, the music has changed. Very sudden onset of the music. It doesn't fade in or out or anything. Alright, here we go. I'm going to start throttling up a little bit. And then once we reach the apoapsis, I'll increase the throttle to full. Doing pretty good here. And let's just increase that right now. Take a look at our fuel reserves. Oh, not enough fuel, I'm afraid. Not quite enough fuel tanks. That's okay, we've just run out of fuel. And we see we're going on a little suborbital jaunt here. That's just fine. But because we're above 70 kilometers, we can get some science done. We're going to file a crew report real quick, worth 5 science. That's good. Going to go EVA, and we're going to click on our little Kerbal here. EVA report. We're just above Kerbin's water. We're in orbit, so we get 8 science points rather than the lesser amount for that. And now once we've done that, I'm going to store experiments. And I don't think I'm going to make it over any other bio... Oh, no, yeah, we are going to travel over land again. So I can warp time again. I'm going to board the vessel. And then we're going to speed up time until we're over a landmass. Oh, no, the ship is throttled up. Can't quite do that. And now we're down below 70,000. You see the music is cut off abruptly. And I'm not going to be able to go EVA over that landmass because my altitude will be too low. And I'll probably be aero braking right around there, actually. So we wouldn't want Jebediah Kerman here to burst into flames. So we're just going to have to make do with the science that we've done, and that's fine. I'm going to nose up a little bit and get into a better position for aero braking. Right about here should do it. And with this light craft, the reaction wheel is more than sufficient to change our orientation and things like that. When I was successful in getting to orbit in the past, I used more of these fuel segments. But exactly how many I was successful with, I'm not sure, because I've used too many at other times, too. And suffered catastrophic failures, as they say in this game. And in other parts of life, too, I suspect. So very limited science on this trip. Didn't have much to do on EVA, but I think once we've unlocked some parts and go up again, I think we'll get a lot more science done. And taking a look from inside the cockpit, we can see our nav ball here. And I think once we get below 30 kilometers, we'll start encountering some atmospheric resistance. Change orientation slightly. Maybe up a little bit more. And because of the relatively low mass of this vehicle, I'm pretty confident that the parachute will slow the vessel down enough. Oh, my ankle is not quite right. This is not going to be good, at least not initially. But because of the relatively low mass of this vehicle, this is not that big of a problem. There's not going to be major tidal forces on decouplers, really. Decouplers is where I get all of those problems. Because this is all one solid piece, it's not really in much danger of breaking apart. And I know this is not optimal for the shielding, but at this low, early stage in the game, they're not quite that demanding. I've slowed down quite a bit, falling below half a click per second. Air braking can be quite effective at reducing your velocity. Once we get below 1 kilometer, I'll deploy the parachute. Even in this position, I think we'll be okay. Hopefully, we'll get a little closer to 100 meters per second before then. So this is a pretty ugly and inelegant vehicle that we have here, but that's part of the fun of this new career mode, is that you're really getting the agency simulation or the management simulation experience by having these kinds of constraints and the parts that you can use. And this is going to be pretty hairy, but yeah, I'm reaction wheel straining to the fullest and not being very successful at. Before I was trying swinging like a pendulum. That was successful in some cases. And here we go. We're reaching 100 meters per second, getting below a kilometer. We're going to deploy that parachute. And with any luck, right around, yes, there we are. Very good. So this is a relatively successful first flight. Didn't quite get up into orbit, but we did enough science to unlock the next tier of technology. And at the end of the day, that's really all you can ask for. I like how there's a green indicator now saying that the parachute is functioning right. There's also yellow and red. Lots of little minor improvements to the user interface that I really appreciate. A lot of things are cleaned up here and work as you would imagine they would. Okay, nice recoverable capsule. Now, because the hatch is free, we're going to do another EVA real quick. There we are. And while we're here, we're going to do an EVA report. Not much for that. Let's discard that data flying over Kerbin's water. That's not quite right. And we're moving around here. While we're in the water, oh yeah, here we go. Take surface sample. Nope. Discard that. Take surface sample. Ooh, 12 points for that. Very good. We're going to board the vessel, and now, this was the part I was a little confused about. I wasn't sure how to turn these science points that we got into actual usable science points. What we have to do now is return to the Space Center. I'm going to go to the tracking station here, select our vehicle, and then recover it using this button. And then here's a summary of the science that we got, which is good, 33. That's my high score so far, all because of that 12-point surface sample. I didn't get into orbit to get the different biome flyover reports, but this was even better. So that's finished, and now we'll head back to the next tier of equipment. And here we are. So we can research this for 5 science. Now we see, I got 28 left, so I can unlock another one. General rocketry gives us some more boosters. This one here gives us the radial decouplers and the winglets. Ooh, that's very good. That may be what I need to get into orbit. That's 18 points, and this is 15 points survivability. The small liquid fuel engine, the radial parachutes, and the landing struts, that's really only going to help me on the moon. I don't think I'm going to be spending too much time trying to land on different parts of Kerbin to take samples of things, although maybe that's what they intend me to do. But I think for getting up into orbit and getting the biome flyovers, I think I want to get the stability. Because really stability was the big challenge in that last flight. So 10 points left, 45, 45. Okay, so we're going to have to do another launch, and then next I think I'll get survivability. Construction, some struts, the radial decouplers, that's kind of neat. Then flight control, then we can send up lighter unmanned craft, that's big. But I won't be able to get as much science done that way. At least maybe not initially. Cockpit for a space plane, that's exciting. Oh, that's very nice. Alright, let's do some more science. So we're going to keep the antenna and the parachute, but we're going to ditch pretty much everything else. now we have larger fuel tanks, which we'll make use of. Maybe one more of those. That is a nice big chemical rocket we've got going here. These smaller ones I don't think we have any use for right now. And now we have radial and stack decouplers, which is huge. We should also have, yes, a new science device, the mystery goo containment unit. But what we don't have is any other propulsion devices. Okay, so I think what we're going to do with this is we're going to add our structural element here, the girder segment. And then on that girder segment, we're going to add symmetrical science pods. I don't think there's no advantage to having more than one of these. I'm just adding on this many for it to be symmetrical. And then there's a collision there. That's fine. Let's just do this and this. That looks nice. Then we'll add a stack decoupler here. Very good. Don't really have, yeah, I didn't unlock the landing legs, so I think we're just going to have to hope that the parachute will slow it down enough to survive. Or alternatively, we could add it directly to this, maybe with bilateral symmetry. Yes, I think I'm liking that option a little bit better. Oh, wrong symmetry selection. There we are. Okay, so now we got these two pods. The window is clear, the hatch is clear. The antenna is negligible in weight, and now this girder, I think, may not have been a very well-conceived idea. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. And we'll just add this same chemical rocket on. So now that we have these radial decouplers, we can be... I wonder if I should have multiple chemical stages. That may not be a bad idea. Yeah, I think that is a good idea. Let's do that. Let's put this aside for now. And then maybe just with one of these tanks. How much does this weigh? 1.25. I think that's pretty reasonable. And then we'll add another decoupler. Add this on here. These little procedural fairings are nice. I'd like to see more procedural fairings in the game. There's a very good mod that did that. Okay. Yeah, that should be fine. And then now if we look at the center of mass, we're looking at right about there. Okay, what do we got for SRBs? Just that same SRB that we had before. I think we'll try adding 6 of these. Now these are like a little lifted, a little separated. And then I rather like the idea of adding these stack decouplers now with 6-fold symmetry and another round of solid rocket boosters. Like so. So we've got these first. This is going to come on, liquid engine needs to come on at first for vectoring. And then these 6 SRBs, and then this is the first stage here. And then these SRBs will come on, although I really would like to do those simultaneously. I'm a fan of that. And then they will be released. And then next, when that fuel is depleted, this stage will begin. Let's do that simultaneously with this. And then at the end, this. Yes, okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Let's get this done. Haven't really had any use for sub-assemblies or down in the career mode part of the game. Alright, reaction wheels on, and let's do it. I want to get a good look at the rocket as it's going on, see if I can pick out any points of structural failure or anything like that. We are looking pretty good right now. I'm just going to reduce my thrust a little bit to conserve some of that liquid fuel. Alright, let's see how this first stage goes. So far, so good. Didn't make the liquid engine explode yet. That's always a plus. And we'll be ready to start our gravity turn soon. 90 kilometers. Okay, here we are. A little bit different in the handling now. Now as I'm trying to turn in one direction, I'm rotating. I see, I'm going too fast. But now that I've gotten rid of the SRBs, that shouldn't be a problem. Although I've got a huge amount of delta V in kind of the wrong direction I have to overcome now. But I think all in all this will lead to me getting into a good orbit. See how my liquid fuel reserves are holding up. Pretty good there. Oh yes, once again I've gone way too high in my apoapsis. And let's see if we can rotate a little bit. There we are. Now what I'm hoping is that, I wonder if that fuel includes both stages. I think it does include both of those stages. Alright, now that I'm oriented right around here, we're going to warp time a little bit. Yeah, that's very jarring, having the music just come in suddenly at 70 kilometers. I think it should be like some kind of fade-in or something. I can see I'm going to have quite an inclined orbit this time around. I'm going to slow that down and use my reaction wheels to reorient myself, give it some thrust. And then try to keep my anterior grade vector up there. I seem to be having some minor control problems. And I have passed the apoapsis. That wasn't what I intended. I wanted to keep it just a little ahead of myself. And I seem to be falling a little bit here. I'm going to try to counteract that by angling myself about the same distance above the horizon as my anterior grade vector is below it. And that may not be enough. I'm going to try elevating it a little bit more. Not too worried about the inclination, so I should probably just align myself up vertically with my interior grid vector. There we go, that's looking a lot better. I think we should be achieving an orbit soon. And there goes that stage. And hopefully I have enough delta V. Oh yes, oh that's quite enough. Yeah, so my periaps is a little bit low, but I could always gain a little bit of altitude later, that's not a big deal. So now I'm on the hunt for more biomes. I already have an EVA over the ocean, so we're going to speed it up a little bit. And I'm not sure what this is, but it's some kind of landmass, so let's go EVA and see what it is. Excuse me, I got a tickle on my nose. Alright, so EVA report, we're above Kerbin's water, only a scientific value of 1.6, because we've seen that before. So we'll discard that. But we will... can't open this while we're EVA, so that's fine. Over Kerbin's water, okay. Nothing to see here. What I forgot that we can do, though, is open the mystery goo. We're going to observe the mystery goo for a value of 10 scientific points. And then if we do the other one, it says 10 points, and it just overwrites the other one. Now notice that if we transmitted this, like if we were betting on not being able to land, we'd only get 40% of the 10 points, which is of course 4 points. And now we're on the night side of the planet. I'm not really going to be able to see what we're flying over, so I'm just going to go EVA periodically and see if, yep, still over the water. That's okay. Speed up time a little bit, and see, again we see the music is cutting in and out kind of unpredictably. I think actually I would like to wait until I'm over the daytime side of the planet. So here at Apoapsis, about 112 kilometers. What I can do here that we're getting close, since I want to raise my periapsis, I'm kind of taking the long way around here, you can see with the nav ball, but I'm going to align myself with, where are those vectors? Ah, here we are. The prograde vector, or anterograde? Anterograde, the anterograde vector right here. And I'm going to give it a little bit of thrust. There we go. Now we're always going to be above 70. That's what I was looking for. I don't think that close you have to worry about atmospheric resistance, but I'm going to go EVA again and turn on the lights because it's very dark on the night side of the planet. And over the highlands, very good. We'll keep that data. That's one I didn't have. Store that experiment. Board the craft and speed up a little bit more. We have one piece of data so far. While we're up here, what we could do is file a crew report. Oh, only 1.9, not too much value in that. We'll discard that one. EVA again. Still over the highlands. We'll discard that data. It looks like we're going over the ocean again, not too much going on there. And I think if we EVA right over here, we'll get the shore biome. There we go. We'll EVA again. Nope, over the water again. We'll discard that one. Board the vessel. Now that we're on the daytime side, we can kind of see what we're flying over. Looks like an archipelago. Yeah, let's see if this will trigger the shore biome. EVA again. Highlands again, we'll discard that one. Now we appear to be over a desert. Let's see if we can trigger the desert biome. I don't know why sometimes the Kerbal is already grabbing onto the ladder and sometimes it's not grabbing onto the ladder when you EVA. Deserts, there we go. Got 8 points for that. We'll keep that data and store it back in the pod. And let's make another attempt to trigger the shore biome. The shores, here we go, another 8 points for that, very good. I imagine there's probably Arctic biomes as well, although I'm not quite convinced I've got the delta V to get to the poles. It might be interesting to give it a try though. Let's see if we can plan a maneuver. When we're at the periapsis, let's see what we can do here. We're going to add a maneuver. Let's see if I can wrangle something out of this. I think this might work. No, that wasn't, that didn't quite do it. Let's see what the deal with that is. Ah, yes, I see. Very nearly there. There we go. That trajectory should put us right in the middle of the Antarctic. Oh, although I wanted to fly over it, not I wanted to fly over it, not land on it. And that's almost 3 clicks per second of delta V. I mean, I'm going to have to use up enough fuel, just canceling out the over 2 clicks per second I have. The vehicle's very light, not a lot of fuel though. I think I should just plan on landing. Let's see, forget that maneuver. And because of the parachute, I could really land anywhere. It doesn't really matter. So I'll just cancel out my Delta V anywhere. No landing gear, so it doesn't really matter to me whether I land on sea or land. Parachute should be all that I need. Right, and now we're pointed retrograde. And well, we'll just bleed off our Delta V right here. Now, because I didn't plot a maneuver, instead of having a Delta V bar on the side, which is handy for maneuvers, instead I just have my orbital velocity here, which of course I'm going to try to get as close to 0 as I can. But instead of using up all my fuel, I'm going to save a little bit. Although I think the parachute's strong enough to handle this. Alright, I'm going to save a little Delta V in reserve. And let's see where we're headed. Yeah, that's fine. Right off the coast of this continent here. Probably won't be too taxing for them to recover me. And we'll just speed up time a little bit. I wonder if I have to reset the goo canister. I'm not sure. I'm going to leave them open like this. Hopefully, entering the atmosphere won't damage them. So I've got 3 stored data. The situation, the highlands, the deserts. Oh, interesting. Maybe I do need to reset the goo canisters. Reset goo canister. Still only 3. Observe mystery goo. Let's see, maybe I have to... It seems to be getting very cold now. Looks like that's all the data that I have. Maybe I have to EVA now. Which is risky because we're not in outer space. We're in the atmosphere right now. Where is it? Oh, yes. EVA. And we're going to activate the jets and try to get over here. I'm going to get up close to this. EVA report upper atmosphere. That's good advice. Get back into the ship. Resetting goo canister. It doesn't really seem to be effective. Yeah, let's get back into this ship before before we start burning up here. That was just in time. I really cut that close. So maybe I get the science for this if I land with the open pods intact. Although, yeah, I think I just screwed myself there. But we'll get some science out of this through the safe landing. Oh, you know, I really should have tried to land in the Arctic biome because I could have gotten a different kind of surface sample. That was poor thinking on my part. And coming quite fast, so let's expend a little bit of fuel. Cancel some of that Delta V. We're accelerating a little faster than I would like. Yeah, try to keep it around 100 meters per second. Not that I have any concrete ideas of what the tolerances are, but it seems pretty reasonable to me. Oh, and that's the last of the fuel. And that's pretty good timing, because... Oh, I forgot about that. Alright, there we go. So this time I'm just landing this part. Doesn't seem to matter either way for this tier. I could have landed with that fuel tank still attached. But as of right now, it doesn't matter whether or not I recover those spent fuel tanks or that other stuff. But I guess that'll be part of future updates where you can start doing some cost engineering. Alright, we've landed. So I think that's about it for that, and Decrease throttle to 0. We'll return to Space Center. And we'll have to recover our craft. "56 science." We got quite a bit of science for that one. Looks like mystery goo. I got the 7 points for the mystery goo. Got a good amount of points just for recovering an orbital vehicle. But I did shoot myself in the foot with that goo canister. If I had just left it be, I would have gotten, I think it was the full 10 points. Still 56 points, quite respectable. We are making progress. And science is advanced. Let's take a look at what we can unlock here. So, what is next? I do like to get the cheapest things first. So we'll get the survivability gear so we can make lander modules. That plus the decouplers makes me pretty confident in getting to the moon on my next flight. And we can do general rocketry. Yeah, that also I think will be helpful in getting to the moon. And also I don't think I can afford these other ones. 45, 45, 45. Here's this new one here. Battery rechargeable pack. And the Science Junior, which will enable more science. Excellent. That'll probably be the next one I get after this one. Ooh, what's in here? Radial mount engine and this fuel tank. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're starting to look at trips to the moon and back with our next series of flights, so that's pretty exciting. But yeah, this music in the research screen is much too somber, and it's not as interesting as the music elsewhere in the game. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching along with me playing Kerbal Space Program. Very excited to see where this game heads between now and when it's released. I hope you enjoyed watching me play it, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.